Good afternoon, internets, and happy Friday. Oh, it's a good day. It's an emotional day. You know what day today is? I know, and Batman knows, and Alessandro knows. It's my 1-year anniversary with Alessandro. Oh, that's right. 365 days ago today, I purchased the 2012 Chevy Volt. And now it is time to have a more in-depth review of this car now that I've been with him for a year, and he's been my buddy. We've had some road trips together. We've had some good times. We've had some bad times, mostly good times, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what it's like to have a Volt after 1 full year. So I bought Alessandro a year ago, and many of you who are familiar with the channel already know the story, so I'll keep this part brief. At the time I was driving, excuse me, hiccups, a Volkswagen Passat, an 06 Passat, and I loved that car. I loved it immensely. It was comfortable, it was beautiful, it was fast, it was just, I mean, it was a wonderful car, and at the time, I had come to believe that it was extremely efficient, and as far as gas-burning vehicles go, I will say that, yeah, it was pretty damn efficient. Now, this was not a diesel car. This was the 2.0T, the 2.0-liter turbo motor that Volkswagen is very fond of putting in all kinds of things, and when it works freaking great. Oh yes, it does. But when it doesn't work, it is the bane of your existence. They designed the damn thing like the space shuttle. When you got the thing opened up, I could neither make heads or tails of it, which meant I had to take it to a mechanic a lot, and there were all kinds of issues with it. I finally took it to my guy Jason over at All European Auto. If you drive anything that's not domestic, and you need a mechanic and you're in Las Vegas, please go see Jason, All European Auto. He's the man. I took my Volkswagen there. Boss takes his Bentley there. You can take anything there. They're the shit. Anyway, take it over there. I'm like, Jason, what's the deal? He's telling me everything that's wrong with it. The cam tunnel's all stretched out. Now, I had just paid to have the turbo replaced because we thought it was a turbo because the thing wasn't making any power. Wouldn't get out of its own way. It would just die in the middle of an intersection. Couldn't figure out what was going on with it. Turned out the lobe of the cam that engaged the secondary high-pressure fuel pump, you know, on every rotation, you know, it would engage the switch on a fuel pump, and that would, you know, spray fuel into the motor, and it was no longer engaging reliably. So we replaced the turbo for no damn reason, and then we replaced the cam, but that cam tunnel inside the block was so worn that the new cam just sort of stretched to kind of fill out the impressions that were left by the old cam, and in the matter of about 6 weeks, that repair was essentially meaningless. Taking my dude Jason, I say, Jason, how do I fix this car? And he said, well, you go get a Chevy. And I was like, oh, and it broke my heart. I love the Passat. I didn't have the close relationship with the Passat that I have with Alessandro, though. I name all my cars, and for whatever reason, the V-dub became just that. We referred to it as the V-dub, or the German. And that was the Passat. And at the time, I was driving from Henderson all the way to Lone Mountain every single day, which is the entire length of the 215. It's the entire width of the Las Vegas Valley. I was driving 33 miles to work and 33 miles home from work. So if all I did every day was go to work and come straight home, which when does that ever happen? I was driving over 60 miles a day. And I had come to believe that the Passat was very fuel efficient. You know, it had a computer on it, and I'm big into hypermiling, and I was able to get, you know, between 40 and 50 miles per gallon on average, utilizing that turbo. But when the car started to go, the fuel mileage got worse and worse, in addition to the fact that it just became unsafe to operate. So we took the Passat, cleared all the lights with our computer, put some really thick weight oil in it to stop the tick, and brought it over to CarMax and traded it in for this. I was walking around the aisle. I had originally gone in there to get I really wanted a Honda, or because Honda was, I was just like, whatever, Honda's known for reliability. The end, I want a Honda. I know I want a hatchback. I know the Honda Fit is a good car. Funny story, my daughter now drives one of those cars, and it is a good car. I was right, it was good. So I got approved for financing online real quick. Didn't take very long at all. And found a car that I wanted and went down to CarMax to check it out. When I got to CarMax, they didn't have the car that I was looking for. It was at a different location. They were like, well, we're happy to truck it over for you to look at it next week. And I'm like, I need a car like today. I need to buy a car now. So we're walking the lot. Check out the Ford C-Max. That was kind of cool. I was like, oh, maybe I didn't go there looking for a plug-in. I didn't go there looking for an electric car. I didn't go there looking for a hybrid. But when I got there, because I thought they were going to be too expensive, and when I got there, I was pleasantly surprised to see that there were some options that I could actually afford, and for less than the Honda Fit that I was looking at was this beautiful thing. And it's fully loaded, and it's electric, but it has a range extender, and it's the interior was, ooh, God, it's leather, and the seats were heated. Oh, really? Really? Now, the Honda Fit I was looking at was baseline Honda Fit. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. You know, cloth seats, hubcaps, the whole, and not quite a stripper. Like, it didn't have, you know, the hand crank windows. It had the buttons. But, I mean, for literally $1,200 less, this was sitting on the lot. I was like, oh, it doesn't have a mommy. I will be his mommy. I actually walked right past it when we were going up and down the aisles, and Rob goes, hey, is that a Volt? And I was like, what even is a Volt? And he goes, they're nice. And I was like, okay. Rob went off to make a phone call. I got in it with the salesman. We went for a test drive. The salesman's sitting right next to me in this seat right here, and he's trying to sell me this car that he knows literally nothing about. He knows nothing about this car. Everything he told me about the car was completely untrue. And I felt bad for the guy, but it's like, you should just say you don't know some stuff, because he said plugging it in was optional, and it sort of is, because it will run on its gas generator. Nothing like getting cut off by a big white brand new 2019 Escalade on the 215. That is amazing. That is some Vegas stuff right there. Didn't signal or nothing. You know, the brake lights and signal lights and turn signals in that car are gigantic. They're 10 feet tall. On the entire length of the back of the Escalade is a freaking turn signal, and all you had to do was turn it on, and I would have let you right over. And I let you right over anyway because I'm a nice person, and now that I've got that out of my system, I can go back to talking about the Volt. Whatever, Escalade! Whatever! Alright. So, salesman sitting talking to me about the car, and I'm starting to get that some of the things that he's saying aren't really right, but I'm loving the car, man. I love the acceleration in it. I get in it, and you know, the thing's got a full charge in the lot because they had it plugged in, and you know, I stomped on the gas, or in this case the accelerator, because it's not the gas anymore, and the thing just, oh, zoom, it took off, and it didn't make any noise. It was quiet, and I was like, oh, now I've always wanted an electric car, but I thought it was way out of reach, man. I was a teacher. I was making nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. Like, I was working with a margin of error every month of, and I'm not kidding you, $17 is what was left over at the end of the month. So the fact that I was in the situation where the car was dying and I needed to go buy a car, and I didn't have payments on the Passat. So where am I going to find the money to make the payment for this thing? And we go back inside, and we're talking to the salesman, and I start looking things up on my phone, and I'm learning about the Volt, and I'm finding out exactly what the range is, and I'm starting to do some math. I'm finding out, well, this thing will run, you got to plug it in, but it'll run for 40 miles. And I was like, well, shoot, that is 2/3 of my daily commute that I could do without gasoline at all whatsoever. That's amazing. I was having to gas up the Passat every single Friday. Now, a lot of people have to gas up their cars every week. It's not a big deal. The Passat had, you know, a 12-gallon tank. I was putting 10 gallons in it a week. That is 520 gallons a year. And the gas here is over 3 miles a gallon. So that was, you know, that was adding up. That was about, you know, 30 to 35, sometimes more, sometimes 38, depending on what gas prices are doing, because they will peak close to $4 a gallon here. That's, you know, $30 a week on average, which is $120 a month. And that's a lot of money, you know, that's over $1,000 a year just in fuel. And when I was adding up, you know, what I was spending on gasoline, and looking at, you know, what it really cost to repair the Passat and everything that went into that car, for the cost of, for what I was going to save in fuel and what I was going to save in maintenance, well, that made up the payment on this car. And most of the insurance too. So I was like, well, okay, this kind of sort of makes sense to do. Plus, I hate burning 10 gallons of gasoline a week. Like, it's ridiculous. It's not reasonable at all to do. It's not good for the environment. It's not good for me. It's not good for my wallet. It's not good for anybody, really. And so that's it. I fell in love with the Volt and brought him home. And the rest is history. Now, I set a trip meter when I first bought the car because I wanted to look at it a year later. So I'm going to click this over right now while we're driving it. Since I have had Alessandro, I have put 14,932.4 miles on it. So I put nearly 15,000 miles on it in 12 months. So I am averaging more than 1,000 miles a month. So I do a lot of driving. I have used 172 gallons of gas. 172.0 is how much I have used since I bought the car. Now that is a lot of fuel, especially when you're thinking of about it all at once. But when you think about the fact that if I was still driving the Passat, I was burning over 500 gallons of gas a year. Well, now I have reduced the amount of gasoline that I've used by 2/3. So it's not perfect. It's not. I'm not by any means in the no emission zone. I'm not doing what a Tesla will do, but I have reduced my carbon footprint significantly. I am using a lot less gasoline, and my average mile per gallon is 87. So 87 miles per gallon is what I've averaged since I've bought this car. So I have almost doubled, well, more than doubled my fuel economy since I was hovering right around 40 before, and reduced the amount of fuel I'm using by a huge percentage. Now, a good deal of those miles, most of those miles took place when I was still teaching, and I was driving the entire length of the valley. Now I go weeks at a time without burning any gas at all. So at the end of today, when I get home and I'm done driving, I am going to reset the trip meter on this, and we're going to look at it again when I'm no longer making a massive commute, and see you know, what my averages are and how much gasoline I use again in the next year, because I'm most definitely keeping this car. This is such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful vehicle. The seats fold down in the back. I have infinite cargo options. I've never had so much stuff that I couldn't move it, and that is saying something. I do a lot of things, you guys. I go camping. I move stuff from place to place. I have to deliver magazines. I do everything in this car. Everything. I ask it everything, and it does everything. And as to safety, I was in an accident that would have been very serious if I had been in the Passat or any other car I've ever owned. If I had been in my Saturn Ion, I would have probably been pretty seriously injured. But the accident that I was in July of this year, I mean, it smashed up Alessandro good. He was very nearly totaled out for all of the stuff that they had to repair on him. But I was perfectly safe. The airbags didn't deploy, and I was not injured in any way, and neither was the other person. And I am extremely grateful to the designers of this vehicle for that. I'm grateful for modern technology and how much safer we are in the event of a collision now. And having been in that accident with this car, man, I want to buy one for all 3 of my kids. I want all of them to have this car and drive this car, and you know, someday I might get myself a Chevy Volt. I really love everything I'm hearing about him. Love you, Bruce. And I like Chevy. And then this car, it's not going anywhere. This is going to end up being driven by somebody else in my family, by one of my kids or my in-laws or somebody. It's just too good a damn car. It just does all of the best things, and it does it so very well. And this is my first car I've ever had with seat warmers, but I can never go back. I can never go back. I grew up in Sparks, Nevada, which is up near Reno, and in Washoe County, and our winters are long and they are cold. And oh, what I would not have given for seat warmers, what my mom wouldn't have given for seat warmers when we were kids. You know, I grew up in the back of a Ford Aerostar, manual transmission, with a cigarette hanging out of my mom's mouth and her shifting the big bus driver shifter, and half the windows were stuck shut, and the only door that worked on it was the driver's door and then the slider. The passenger side door didn't work. You had to climb in through the driver's side or the slider. And the back hatch, whenever you need to get things out of there, you had to prop it open with a 2x4, but then my dad kept back there. You know, that was the kind of car I grew up in. I didn't know anything about anything, so like, I know this sounds crazy, but like just having a car with you know, the leather seats and the leather wrapped steering wheel and the seat warmers, and it's comfortable, and it gets me where I need to go for cheaper than like an older gas car was going to. My God, like, why isn't everybody doing this? They're so wonderful. And this is coming from somebody who's a grease monkey who likes to work on her own car. I like to work on my own car. The only downside of this car is that when something mechanical goes wrong with it, I don't understand it. I do my best to learn about it. But because the charging cycle, this came with a really good 8-year-long warranty. So, this is a 2012. Its warranty is good through 2020. So anytime, and it's not very often that anything has. We've only had a couple of problems with it. Anytime there's something that I don't understand, I'm just not comfortable getting under the hood and wrenching on this thing because I don't really understand what's going on in there. And it's all covered up by a bunch of plastic. And when I pull the plastic off, I recognize the generator. Like, that's a little tiny 4-cylinder motor. Like, I know what a 2-cylinder or a 2-liter 4-cylinder Chevy motor looks like. It looks exactly the same as, well, not exactly the same, but it looks very similar to the motor that was in my Saturn Ion, you know. I'm familiar with that, but it doesn't make mechanical power. It just generates electricity. So I don't know, that standpoint, that's a little bit of a negative. There is no third back seat back here. So I have the 2 bucket seats. I personally like that. I think it looks better. A lot of people wish there was a third seat back there. Okay. There's not a lot of leg room in the back seat of this thing. There's just not. If there's anybody tall in front of you at all, you can't really sit an adult behind them in the Volt. They didn't partition the space particularly well for passengers. However, I don't care that much because I never sit back there. I drive up here. So, tough noogies if you're sitting back there. Don't care. It don't really bother me. Those seats back there go down. There's a huge amount of cargo space. The AC blows ice like a champ, which you have to have in Las Vegas, guys. It is 77 degrees outside right now. Need to turn my air up a little bit because it's hotter in here with the light coming in through the windows. You have to have good air conditioning, and honestly, you have to have a good heater too because it gets freaking cold here in the wintertime. But it's definitely the best car that I have ever owned. Now that having been said, it is, from the standpoint of somebody who likes to work on stuff, who likes to wrench on things, it is the most boring car I have ever owned. My biggest complaint with this car is that it's extremely reliable and everything always works always, so there's nothing for me to work on, and it just, it takes away my special purpose, which is to work on my car. And I don't have to work on this car. There's nothing to work on. I should probably clean it out because it's got a little bit of chick car syndrome going on right now. And if you don't know what chick car syndrome is, it is this phenomena where the girls' cars are immensely dirty and more cluttered and full of more crap than men's cars. It's a real phenomena. It's not sexist. That's just what it is. Girls are always doing a bunch of stuff, and this girl in particular is constantly running around and rely on my car for a lot of things. So it's full of stuff right now. I have a giant bag full of tennis balls down there that I need to go donate to the doggy park. And all kinds of other good stuff going on over here. Oh, I see what's happening. I see why we're stuck. It's because this lane ends. Fun. I am half a block away from my Vegas magazine to go over there and meet with my people and pick up my check. And we are stuck in construction. Yeah, Vegas, the state flower of Nevada, is the orange cone, if you were unaware. So that's some fun stuff. Some fun stuff right there. Oh, and this person thinks they're not going to let me in. They're mistaken. I am asserting myself. Thank you, Wave. You were trying to be rude. Thanks, didn't work. Have a super good day. Any hoozle. So, it's just the very, very best car. It is the very, very best car, and it makes me so very happy. And it's the newest car I've ever owned. I know that's for some of you are like, that's ridiculous. You know, it's almost 2019, right? And that car is almost 7 years old. Yes, I know, but I've never had any money, so this is the newest car I've ever had. It's the first car I've ever financed. This is a big step in adult town for me, and I just adore it. And I don't mind sitting in the passenger seat when Rob is driving. I love driving it myself. It does everything I need to do, and I get to and from my Vegas without needing the gas generator, plus a couple of errands. It's just wonderful. When I do take it on a road trip, the gas mileage is not amazing. So when I took the Passat from Vegas to Reno, we averaged 46 miles a gallon. taking the Volt from Vegas to Reno, you average right around 33, 35. And back again, 33, 35 miles to the gallon, which makes sense because that little generator, I mean, it's working its butt off to make enough electricity to send you down the road. And it's not what it's ideally made for. It will do it, and it'll be fine doing it. It's going to complain a little bit, and where you hear that complaint is in your gas mileage. I do wish that it got better mileage when it was on the gas-only motor, but hey, most of the time you don't end up running it. 95% of the time, I don't burn any gas at all. So it's like, well, I don't really have all that much to complain about. I used to burn a little bit of gas every day, and I just don't anymore. And I'm really happy about that. It's nice. It's nice to be able to just drive right past the gas station and know that that's not something that I need. And when I do have to fill it up, it's around 20 bucks. And it's super rare. Maybe once a month, maybe once every other month. Unless, you know, like I said, we have a big road trip or something. And it's wonderful. If you are thinking about picking up a used Volt, I picked this up high mileage. It had around, it just under 60,000 miles on it when I picked it up. Now, some people would consider that a high mileage for a used car, and they wouldn't even consider buying it. I'm telling you right now, do it. Do yourself a favor and get it. It's a good car. They are so reliable. They did a good job of building these things. Chevrolet did a good job of putting this thing together. And there's just nothing, it doesn't really leave a whole lot to be desired other than the fact that I wish it got better mileage when it was on the gas-only motor. And that's pretty much it, guys. It was love at first sight with this car, and I was so happy to have it. I can't believe a year has flown by in this car, and it inspired me to start EVs in Nevada, to start this channel and learn about the stuff in the first place, because it's I don't know, when I started learning about electric cars, I wanted to find the electric car community, and I wanted to consume electric car content. And a lot of the electric car content I came across, and I don't mean any offense, but it was so boring! Not a little boring! Oh, so boring! Incredibly dull. And it's just like, I love you guys, but you talk like homework. And I don't think there's any reason for that. It's car stuff. Come on, guys, we're doing car stuff. Why do we need to talk like homework? And I wanted EV content that wasn't like that. And I was talking to Rob, and I was like, well, how do I find the fun EV content? And he's like, looks like you're gonna have to be the fun EV content. And I was like, well, it's a completely reasonable argument, and I can't find a way to refute it. So I guess off I go with this new vlog, and that's how EVs in Nevada happens. So, and I met so many of you amazing people. And people who watch the channel have come out to the car show and met me in person, and met Batman. And I've made lots of new friends, both online and in real life, because of this car. And it's just, it really has been an incredible experience, you guys. I'm extremely grateful for your participation. I'm extremely grateful for your support. And it's led me to really good stuff, and I feel very positively about it. So I have just gotten to the magazine. I think that completes my review of my 1 year review. Oh, by the way, Batcat. Of the 2012 Chevy Volt Premium. If you have a chance to get one of these cars and you're considering it, get off the fence. Just do it. Just do yourself a favor and get the damn car, because it's going to change your life for the better. It's going to improve things. If you live in a city of any kind and you have a place to plug in at night. I don't have a level 2 charger. I'm still charging on 120. It takes me 12 hours to fill up my battery, and I don't get my panties in a twist about it. It's fine. It's fine. I wake up every morning and my battery's full. What else do you want? It's fine. And I live in a rental. I don't own my home yet. I hope to be a homeowner someday soon, but I don't at this time. So even though I live in a rental, these are things that people think that like are going to prohibit them from having electric cars. I live in a rental. I don't have level 2 charging. It doesn't matter. I still drive my electric car every day. It serves me well every day, and I go most days without burning any gas at all. Buy one of these cars if you have a chance. They're great. The Gen 2s are wonderful also, but they are selling the absolute crap out of the Gen 2 Volt, which is depreciated the absolute crap out of the Gen 1 Volt, which is how I was able to afford this when I was a special ed teacher. It's a really, really good thing. It's a terrific bang for the buck. For a baseline Honda Fit or Chevy Volt Premium, fully loaded. Every option that was available on the Volt the year that this one was made in 2012 is on this car. Yeah. And when the car, you know, was new, it was around $58,000 and I was able to pick it up for $14,000. That's an incredible value. Like, the person who sold it, really super sorry about your depreciation, but really, really grateful that I was able to pick this thing up. And it made a huge lifestyle change for me and ultimately has saved me money and saved me the headache. I loved the Passat, but the thing, it just wasn't reliable and it was sucking my will to live with how often it needed to be in the shop and with the way the bloody Germans built it. There's no reason to make a 4-cylinder motor with a turbo that damn complicated. There's no reason. There's no reason. One day I'll be cleansed of that rage, but still, even to this day, I don't understand. I don't understand, you guys. Like, why, Volkswagen? There's no, like, well, why would you do that? If you've ever gotten one of these things apart, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I think it's 2 fuel pumps. 2. One at the tank and one at the motor. What? What even is that? Okay, all right, I gotta calm down. All right. But this is a really great car. This is my 1-year review of the 2012 Chevy Volt Premium. It makes me exceedingly happy. I'm so happy to have this year with Alessandro, whom I named after Alessandro Volta. Alessandro Volta is the Italian physicist who invented the battery in the 1700s, I believe. I think. 16 or 1700s. Don't quote me on that. What, did I used to be a teacher or something? Anyway, I named him Alessandro in honor of Alessandro Volta, which is where we get the word Volt to begin with. He's the guy who invented the battery. That's why this car is named Alessandro, because I'm a gigantic nerd. Nerd love. And I love it. And I think that you would love it too if you had one. If you guys have any questions at all about the Volt, put them in the comments down below. If there's anything else you want to see from EVs of Nevada, put it in the comments down below. If there's anything you want to ask me personally, put that in the comments down below. I'm answering all the questions all the time. Love you guys, great big bunches. If this is your first time on the channel, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing right over here. Got a lot of big things coming up real soon. Here's some other things I think you'll enjoy right down here. My name is Katherine. This is EVs of Nevada. Please remember to like, subscribe, and smile, and celebrate your anniversaries with your cars.